You didn't see it coming. Suddenly, your mouth goes dry, your heart races, and it sounds like there's a freight train rushing through your head. You can't listen. Maybe it's your boss giving you unexpected, harsh, critical feedback performance in your annual review. Maybe it's your girlfriend saying, "We need to talk." Regardless, the words may be chattering through your head, but somehow you can't get them up to your brain, the part that actually does the listening. What's going on here? Why can't we listen when the stakes are high? Well, your amygdala, the part of your brain that picks up sensory information, sees things far before your conscious mind can act on them. It's your fight or flight response. And that's a fancy name for your sympathetic nervous system. Once that gets triggered, you move into protection mode. You are all about protecting and defending yourself. And that's the name of the game. Sometimes you move towards fight, where you're charged and ready to go. Other times, you move more towards flight. And you don't have to run away to experience flight. A lot of times it happens while the conversation is still going on. You've checked out, packed your bags, and left the conversation, but you're still right there pretending to be in it. Information also travels up to your prefrontal cortex, the part in the front of the brain that does the critical thinking, and that's where the listening happens. And listening happens so fast, things move up there so quickly, but your amygdala catches it before your prefrontal cortex does. And your prefrontal cortex is really looking out for you. It's that part of your brain that says, do I really know this person, or have I just exchanged a lot of personal information with them on Twitter? The prefrontal cortex is slow compared to the amygdala. The amygdala is fast. Take road rage, for example. The driver careens in front of you and throws on its brakes. Immediately, you tailgate. And then your rational mind kicks in, you realize to do the right thing, and you back off. From an evolutionary biology standpoint, our brains haven't caught up with our modern culture. Email where our boss's boss is copied feels just as threatening as if a saber-toothed tiger was chomping at our ankles. Once the fight or flight response is started, our bloodstream gets flooded with chemicals. Cortisol, the stress hormone, is coursing through, and our adrenal glands are pumping out adrenaline like there's no tomorrow, because in fact there may be no tomorrow if it can't save us. This is what happened with Jeff Wilhelm. He aided in the rescue of dozens of teachers and students when an elementary school in Oklahoma was flattened last year from a tornado. It was only after he'd saved many of them that he realized both of his arms were broken. Once the cortisol adrenaline cocktail gets in your bloodstream, it goes right up to your brain. And basically, it commences a shutdown. Much like a government shutdown, only the essential services are performed. The limbic system is also at work in the midst of this. The limbic system is basically a stenographer. It keeps track of things for you. It's the heart of your emotions and your memory. It's also responsible for reminding you about that embarrassing time when you did confuse someone you just met with someone on Twitter. In situations of low to moderate stress, the prefrontal cortex overrides the amygdala. We can listen again, and critical thinking prevails. We distinguish the Twitter friend from the friend in person. As your stress level goes up, it gets harder and harder to make those good choices. Stress and listening have an inverse relationship with one another. When stress is up, listening goes down. And when stress is low, your ability to listen and think critically goes up. Without critical thinking skills, we may say something that makes absolutely no sense. In fact, as our stress levels go up, our prefrontal cortex can be completely incapacitated and render our brain pretty much useless. This is why people become such jerks when they feel really threatened. They really can't think or listen. And it's really not their fault. Blame it on evolutionary biology not having caught up with our modern culture. When we get angry, we simply can't listen. Likewise, when we threaten someone else, whether it's intentional or accidental, we completely disable their ability to think critically and their ability to listen. So what can we do when we start to feel a threat coming on? Well, simply by having the awareness of these biological functions, we could be more fine-tuned to them. Oh yeah, there's still going to be things that set us off, our buttons get pushed, and we do get defensive. But if you can remember that it's a biological response, you can have a little bit more of a grip on it and pull yourself back from the edge when you feel it happening. And you can carefully choose your opening line to important conversations to avoid triggering other people's flight or fight response. And now that you know that we need to talk is not a good way to open a conversation, you can have those conversations that you want to have and actually listen.